Well, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Got a great broadcast lineup for you this morning, as I hope and I pray that we always do. I'm not important, just a question asker. My name is Raheem Aljamain out of Atlanta, Georgia, but I got my brothers from another mother, but we got the same father on with us this morning. First on the line is Mo. Mo, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Good morning. Good morning. I'm here. You need to adjust your high end there, your treble high end on that channel for your channel.
Okay.
Because I'm getting feedback. But man, I'm doing okay. I have me a date tonight.
Good
I'm gonna go
God
listen to
Almighty,
some blues. Yeah, man, it's been a long time.
man!
Long
Look
time.
at tell Patty LaBelle I said hello, man.
I haven't seen Patty in years.
Mm,
As usual, I do have a real story about her. She took my grandma's recipes.
mm,
She used to come to we had a cafe, a little called Barnesateria in Philly, and
mm-hmm.
her and the Bluebells would come in and they would order things, and Patty would always be in the kitchen because my grandmother, Essie Mae, was there cooking up real stuff. And she would always look and sometimes write stuff down. And don't you know, I found two of my grandmother's recipes in the first cookbook.
Wow, wow. And so bad. Basically, you said them ain't patty pies.
No, no, them Essie Mae Barnes pies.
Mm, me and
from
Patty
what
got to
from
talk.
from Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
Yeah. Say once I said North Carolina.
Yes, we are the Currys and the Barneses down there.
Man, look at here, man. Look, I told you last time you said something about Winston, man. That's right there close to my hometown, man. So
Yeah,
I'm probably gonna have some of the pie. I'm from Greensboro, North Carolina.
yeah.
Yeah,
Tobacco land,
yeah.
tobacco land.
Skipping a hop, man. Skipping a hop. You between Greensboro, High Point, and Winston Salem, all right there together. Skipping a
Hmm.
hop, man. Skip and a hop. So yeah, man. I probably done had some. Well, I ain't had none of them patty pies, but I probably had some. Yo, what was the name? Had it? What the name? Had it made?
It was Essie Mae.
Estimate. I probably had some of them estimate pie. Them estimate pies sound like they taste better than paty pies. Cause
Oh yeah.
estimate gonna put some love in that in them pies.
Oh yes, sir.
Look,
Yes,
come
sir.
on now. You better say it. You better say it to Salt. Good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Y'all messing with me this morning. And, you got any Negro pie?
Negro pies. These are white people pies.
How much is it gonna take to turn them white only pie into Negro pies?
Classic film. Classic film, man. Life was awesome, man.
Yeah.
Eddie Murphy, Martin Lawrence, man, oh man.
Man, I could look at that any time of the week. I could put it in, man, and just laugh like I'm saying it for the first time. I could turn you into some Negro pies.
Don't be stupid.
Oh,
Don't be
I'm the daddy. No, 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 no. I'm the daddy boss. I'm not baby's pappy.
look, I'm telling you, man, that movie is so many clips you could take from that movie, man, and just laugh like crazy.
Oh, hey, but the movie Blazing Saddles,
Mm-hmm.
Cleavon Little, Mel Brooks. You remember that movie Blazing
I
Saddles?
do. I do. Mm-hmm.
That is a classic movie, man. The black hero who doesn't die.
Yeah, man.
We can't
Mm-hmm.
even do that right now. You can't do that movie because of the N-word and the
Mm-hmm.
jokes and everything in
Wow.
it right now.
Wow. Wow. And see, create it's something to me. I'm gonna tell you something. To me, it's a certain thing about suffocating someone's creative juices by all this what they call it, what they call it, council culture that they're doing right now. But
Right.
there's a level, to me, there's a level to that where you're counseling a person's creativity. I'm gonna tell you something. Bernie Mac, as funny as he was, and as funny as he
Oh,
is,
no.
um, in this culture right now, the culture that we're in right now, and that wasn't a long ways away, but in that culture, thank you, I appreciate it, thank you very much. In that culture that we're in right now, man, Bernie Mac couldn't, man, they'll counsel him, man.
Oh, they tried,
Yeah.
but it's hard with black comedy. But I'm going to give you an example of if they recast Blazing Saddles. Cleavon Little was brilliant in it. Richard Pryor was a co-writer on that. Can you imagine the person who played Sheriff Bart, the Cleavon Little character, cast? Just think for a moment, Dave Chappelle.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think he's the only one who could do it.
Yeah, he is. And Dave, and I'm gonna tell you something. Comedically, if you listen to Dave Chappelle, that dude's a genius, man. If you just listen, now he's funny. You're always gonna get the funny side of it, but sometimes you have to listen past the funny. And that dude, man, that dude's he's sharp, man. He's sharp.
I tell you what, hey, I think about when y'all was talking, I was thinking about Archie Bunker.
Yes.
Fred Sanford.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And what is his name? You're moving on up, George Jefferson.
Sherman Hemsley.
Mm-hmm.
They used to say some things that would offend people. These days.
Mm-hmm.
Because George Jefferson, he'll spit out the word hunky in a minute, and
they dropped the N-word all the time in that show.
I arrest a lot of black white people and everything. What all these Negroes doing in here?
Yeah.
Look at all these Negroes.
Oh,
they'll put him off TV. They'll shut him down.
Yeah, shut him down. And I'm gonna tell you something. Old Sanford and Son. Sanford and Son, you know, he when they was in court that day, he said, "Man, what? Man, look at all these ings in here. Like we're making a Tarzan movie."
You know, but I remember I wrote an article that when Trump was running, and you had people like black people jumping on Trump's bandwagon and Herman Cain, and I did a comparison, and I used All in the Family and the Jeffersons, and I had stated that the black Republican voter is the George Jefferson voter that they want.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Black Republicans, because George, he had a conscience, but he knew where the money flew. Remember, he was always Mr. Whittendale. He was always trying to get dry cleaning business, you know, in the building, and eventually got it in the building, and kept himself together and stuff. It was brilliant writing on that show. I mean, but like I said, I mean, George dropped the N-word, you know, Good Times, all of that. And there was the writer's name is Ernie Moon, who actually sued Norman Lear because he was the one who created Good Times. And I haven't seen that Netflix cartoon. I actually refuse to do it. The Good Times reboot, because they have them still living in the ghetto as another generation, and the baby's a drug dealer. But that Good Times was based off of A Raisin in the Sun, Lorraine Hansberry. And at the last episode of Good Times, they actually moved to the suburbs. And Esther Roll character in Florida took that flower pot with her. And they left the ghetto. So now we got another generation of Evans living in Cabrini Green. No.
Exactly.
And all the original cast commented that they didn't know what they were doing was happening. And they felt they got tricked.
It's a lot going on. It's a lot going on with that, man. And you said Raising the Sun. It's always been one of my favorite movies. Sidney Poitier was something else, man. Sidney Poitier. Not that money, not that money. And boy, he went in on that one, boy. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I know you're the question answer, but how did we get here from those? Because these television programs that we used to watch when we was coming up, they was real, but it was funny.
Yeah.
We would laugh at them. Now, people get offended. You better not say some of the things that, like the theme song from All in the Family. It was me, my man.
I know the one. You know
what I'm
saying? Exactly.
That thing would offend somebody because men ain't men like men were back in the day.
Exactly. And I'm gonna ask the lady. I'm gonna ask the lady that question. Toy, you want to take good morning, young lady. How you doing this morning?
Good morning. How y'all doing? Y'all might not want to ask me.
Good morning, Toya.
Hey, we're gonna
Morning,
actually
morning.
today is Friday. We pulled out to stop today. Today is
Is
Apparently,
Friday.
it's Brown Liquor Friday.
oh, I'm glad I had my shot before I just walked out the door.
There you go.
Um,
There you go.
Put some toddy
uh,
in that body. Put some
uh,
toddy in that body.
uh, uh, uh. All right, listen. Them fake, I'm finna cuss, renditions of what black people were back then was some foolery.
Mm-hmm.
And they were not anything that they needed to post up on the television to give us our little representation of what black people are. George Jefferson, what? A dry cleaner? What?
Mm-hmm.
What? What you just say? James and Good Time. What? Not when they said we came from what they burned down over there? No, you're not gonna leave me with just that. No, you're not gonna leave me with no good times. And just no all in the family and just no blazing sandals where we was funny. Ain't nothing serious about none of them. Funny jokes, ha ha ha. No, we were so much more than them. That's why we where we are now.
Toya, to your point, is that why people had such an issue in the beginning with the Cosby Show? Because they say it's not realistic. You ain't gonna have no doctor and no turning in raising a family and blase blase blase. It's not. They kept saying that the Cosby Show was unrealistic. That's not a representation of the black community.
Right, because from 1960 something to 1980 something, they told us the only thing we can do is be a dry cleaner and be in what you call it with Florida and be the happy Negro happy in the jokes in the butts of the jokes on Blazing Saddles. Come on, man, stop. Let's stop acting like Richard Pryor and Red Fox didn't have no issues back then. Stop acting like that's all we was reduced to, and we had an opportunity to be so much more. And no, they reduced us to being jokes and comedic. They didn't put anything out there. They know that 80% of what you watch is an influence on what you do. They know that 60% of what you hear is an influence on what you do. So no, I hate to have to say this to my generation, but for me, I wish I could kick y'all butt. Settling for that. Settling for that after what they did to Martin Luther King. Ain't nobody did do nothing. They ain't do nothing. And then you ask 20 more years later. Well, what had happened was, what? Why they ain't had nobody up there like Martin on a sitcom? Because they already knew what they was doing. That's why they killed him. And now we're so brainwashed. We're saying and celebrating Good Times and Blazing Saddles because we're sad about Martin's death. Come on now. That's why we cool with being comedians, because we don't want to die for this. We don't be like our ancestors and die for this. That's all we reduced to. Then that's fine. I'll be the cha-cha-cha-cha. Come on, man. Come on, man. I'm not accepting that one. I'm not accepting that one. We got to come with something better than that. When you come and sing elsewhere, like Denzel Washington was a doctor, then we talking about something. But them comedies don't ever disrespect what we've been through and say that those were the highlights of our life when they was setting the reputation and the pace for who we were. Because it wasn't enough. We're so much greater, and we're so lost now from watching at them shows. That's why the Cosby Show was so unrealistic, because nobody preaching it to us, teaching it to us, or letting us do it.
They call me Mr. Tibbs.
Hey, man, I got to fight Toya.
Fight?
Okay.
Okay, I'll meet you outside at 3 o'clock.
No, please don't. I was talking about a mind fight.
Don't get scared now. You got mighty scared there. You got mighty scared there. You know, oh no, don't make me outside.
No, Toya, bring the tea. No, I don't want that. Toya, I understand what you're saying, and all of that. But what was happening at that particular time was we were finally getting into the writer's room, finally getting union representation.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
We in some areas, but not in the areas that we need to be. We need to be in the writer's room. And there were, the big thing is, John Amos, that was the reason they killed him off on the show. He was tired of his character never having a job or always being in a bad situation, working his head. And there were morality plays within that of making good choices. It was not all buffoonery. In fact, he and Jimmy Walker got into it multiple times on set because of the character of JJ. He thought he was clowning it up and everything and bringing the worst stereotype. And they approached it as a Raisin in the Sun with the comedic situations. And even with the Jeffersons, George wasn't just a dry cleaner, he was an entrepreneur. He had multiple locations, and he wanted one in the white building that he lived in because he knew he was going to make money, and Mr. Whittendale and everything else, all the characters in there. So it wasn't, about buffoonery. You want to go buffoonery, you can go to the show What's Happening. Remember that? I don't know if you remember that show. And other things. Blazing Saddles was trailblazing. John Wayne was offered a part, and he said that I can't do this movie, but I'll be the first one in line to see it. And Mel Brooks said it was, when he wrote it, he and the writers, it was about the insanity and humanity and ludicrousness of man when they needed to work with one another, and the jokes within that movie itself. It was just that particular time period. And we jump ahead, and when we try to get good shows and even comedic shows, it's always the same thing. Like, I'm very tired of seeing every time it's Black Life, they're always crime related, BMF and all of that, and you get the characters, you got to talk like this every time they have an encounter with somebody. It's like, that's not who we are. And representation is hard because they don't want us there. They don't want that.
That's why we need to make our own.
And we have been making our own. We have.
What do you think? What do you think? Because you can't. There's no cookie cutter, and I got to go to Tucson as well. But there's no cookie cutter answer to how I got to sneeze. Excuse me. Thank you.
God bless you, because I sure can't. No, just joking.
There's no cookie cutter answer to that's going to represent the community as to who we are or what we are or what we've been through. There's no one cookie cutter answer or one cookie cutter writer that's going to be able to represent everything. So how do we get to a place where we as a community as a whole we're representing in that quote unquote writer's room that you're talking about? How do we get there?
You get it one story at a time and bring it up that one story at a time. And remember, movies like Amistad, very important movie. Even movies like Glory. And the thing about it, it's the distributors who decide at these festivals whether they're going to pick up your movie or not. Sankofa by Ali Garima, Ethiopian guy, very powerful film. You couldn't pick up now. You can only get it what do you call it? Like on Amazon, rarely, stuff like that. It's very expensive because he had a mysterious fire that destroyed all the prints but one.
Wow. Okay. I'm multitasking over here, but there's a lot of different things going on in this conversation. Tucson, what's on your heart, brother? That writer's room. I think there's certain pictures. I really do believe Good Times was based on a lot of buffoonery, the dynamite and all that stuff. And JJ, they wouldn't let little Michael shine. Little Michael wanted to be an attorney, a judge, or something like that. He wanted to be that. They never would give him any shine. Poor James couldn't get a job to save his life. Go ahead.
I kind of like where we were then, because you could say what you felt, and it was open, and nobody was offended. You get George Jefferson and Archie Bunker on the same show, talking to each other because they was neighbors. The genuine type of African American, that's what they want to call you these days. And then the genuine Caucasian man that would say what was on their mind, not hidden. It was straight up. So you put two people from different backgrounds and you set them in the same neighborhood and make them live together
Wow.
with their mentality that I'm not going to change for you because I don't like white folks, and the other one didn't like black folks.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like Jews, and he would talk. He had a son-in-law that was what was Michael?
He was,
Michael was
he was Jewish.
No,
Polak.
Michael was Polish. He called him the
He
Polish,
was
dumb
yeah,
Polak.
Polish, yeah. Oh, yes.
Polish, so he would call him a dumb Polak,
Mm-hmm.
and that was a that. See, because you can't do that here where we are today because everybody's offended. So I beg to differ. I love you, but it's not a most so a joke. It's reality
Mm-hmm.
because when the rubber meets the road, black folks is racist in some kind of way, just like white folks.
Wow.
It
Wow.
is what it is.
Mm.
Really, I mean, if you really look at it, we have our way of condemning other folks' actions because they're not like us. And
Yeah.
we're jealous. I think we're really
Hey,
jealous, and
Tucson.
I don't care for the lifestyle. We're
Hey.
jealous. I think this is just my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
We're jealous of the LGBTQ community because they have excelled more than us,
Mm.
and we've been here for a long time, and
Let
we
me,
ain't got nowhere yet
but let me ask you this:
because we're offended. Yes, sir.
is there a level of excelling? Lack of a better term, if there a level of excelling based on the vehicle that we have already presented or built, and they just jumped on that vehicle that we have already built and continue to go on.
Jumped on the
Yeah,
background.
jumped on the background and went on, because had we not done the thing to lay the foundation to a certain level and progress to a certain point, would they have a vehicle to jump on and advance? And you say they've out advanced us. I don't know how I want to view that, but I think piece or part of that has to do with what we've gone through the civil rights movements and different things of that nature, why they're able to do what they're doing.
Well, you got a point. But see, what we have a tendency of doing, we try to help everybody because we're so far behind. And if we can get ahead, we bring everybody with us.
Mm-hmm.
See, this is just my opinion. There are other folks that stay in their lane and they only bring their kind and people that they think like them with them. And that's why, I don't mean no harm. If you take our Latino, Mexican, however you want to call them, they stay together and they've come here and they make one a supervisor and everybody else works for him and they excel. They are great builders. They take jobs we don't want.
Mm.
So what I'm saying is we try to help everybody. We shall overcome. We, who is we?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But Martin Luther King had a dream. He dreamed that everybody be together. How that's working out for you?
Mm. To a certain degree, to a certain level, it's not. It's not. And I wonder how would he view his "I Have a Dream" speech today in 2024. I wonder how he would view his speech. We're gonna go to Toya with a T. Then we got Rico with us this morning. We're gonna go to Rico. Rico, come to you right after Toya. Toya with a T. What's on your heart, sis? Toya. Toya, wake up and go to sleep. Rico, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Man, I can't complain. Just happy to see another beautiful day. How everybody doing?
Hey, doing good, doing good. You been listening to us this morning?
Yeah, I've been listening for a second, man. I heard you ask the question about how can we fix it.
Mm-hmm.
I say you have to find some balance. And see, that's the hard part about entertainment is finding that balance. You know, it's a thin line between comedy and exploitation. And so in some cases, we may say some of these shows were like black exploitation, but they really weren't. They were informational and educational to a certain extent. They would use comedy to bring some reason. At the end of each Jefferson show, it always ended with a serious message if you paid attention to it.
Mm-hmm.
The Good Time shows ended with a serious message. I can remember Different Strokes addressed not only racism, but they addressed little boys being molested and taken advantage of on one of their shows.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the Jeffersons, they would address the lack of a relationship between his mother and Weezy, or sometimes they would address an issue like somebody not wanting blood from George. They'd rather die
Mm-hmm.
because he was a black man.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Meathead was the balance on Archie Bunker, All in the Family. You know, but once again, the dilemma with most people in entertainment is wondering, are they laughing with me or are they laughing at me?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what happened with Dave Chappelle. You know, I heard you mention Dave Chappelle earlier.
Yeah.
He is a genius, but he got caught up for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Not
Yep.
the money, not
Mhm.
the money. Oh,
Yep.
he thought everything was good.
Mm-hmm.
But after a while, he started thinking to himself, wait a minute. Yeah, the show has got my name on it, and I am a part of the writing team. And I'm doing a lot of stuff that's funny, but now it's starting to look like they're not laughing with me because they doing a little bit too much.
Mm-hmm.
Look like they laughing at me.
Yep.
Matter of fact, I noticed they've been trying to put me in a dress.
Mm-hmm. Come on. Mm-hmm.
Why I got to put on a dress to be funny? Everybody already did that already. I want to do something different. Dave Chappelle said this out of his own mouth. He went to Africa, left the money on the table, said, screw that show. Let me rethink some things. Now he comes out with the same type of comedy, but at the same time, he has a lot more of a social platform with it because you have to have that balance.
Mm-hmm.
Dave Chappelle can't go extreme. Oh, the LGBTQ, they want to counsel him bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at the same time, if you listen to the man, he has a lot of balance. He comes with a lot of reason and logic. And John Amos was the equivalent of that. That's the
Yeah.
reason why he was worried about black people being exploited. He didn't
Mm-hmm.
want the show he was on. Florida didn't want the show to be without a black father in the household. They didn't want to be exploited.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't want to be a part of the black exploitation. And like Mo said earlier, the original writer was a black man.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's the thing about the entertainment industry. If you don't control that industry, then you might be the next John Amos, or you might be the next Dave Chappelle. This, once again, as a black man trying to make it in a white man's industry that he created with entertainment, of making sure you don't turn out to be the minstrel or the jester,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because that can happen.
Quickly.
So we have seen it happen from way back with Good Times all the way up to the Dave Chappelle show.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, black people trying to find out where they fit in this white man's system.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of that, Rico, I'm gonna ask you this question as well. What is the purpose, or what was the purpose of there was an era in time where they used to put on the black face? What's the purpose of that?
Ridicule, exploitation.
Mm-hmm.
That they were exploiting and disfiguring us. Think about it, dog. Ain't nobody lifts that big. Don't nobody eat watermelon like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it was humor to them. So once again, as we decided we want to integrate into their system and be represented on TV and become a part of all this entertainment and fun and pleasure that they got to offer, what part are we really playing?
Mm-hmm.
Because some people say that Good Times was black exploitation, but we also do have to respect the fact that they had serious messages. When George Jefferson tried to get that man that blood, and man, he didn't want it. There wasn't a whole lot funny about that.
No, not at all.
But it was that was an actual true reality. So we
Mm-hmm.
got to find that balance if we want to fix it. We have to get more balance to start also focusing on things that's educational and serious, and not get away from this spell of this addiction that we have to being entertained.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And Mo, let me ask you this question. What a lot of times people say in order to get into the game, you have to to a certain and I hate this terminology, but to a certain level, sell out. You have to sell out, man. You have to, bite the bullet and take it, the way that they give it. How much selling out have individuals did in the past for us to make it to this point right now?
Well, we can only see the outside of what we would determine to be a sellout, because there are many who did not sell out and who
Mhm.
stayed firm and did their thing. And you don't even know about them. You may know their names and their legend. Mantan Moreland and Stepin Fetchit. Now that's when we're talking about buffoonery.
Mhm.
I mean, these were black stars in the 1930s and 40s.
Mhm.
Okay, but I can't remember Stepin Fetchit's real name, but he owned a one citywide block and actually had a trust and foundation fellowship that people would come to him for money, and he would help them out. But his son, after he died, was so distraught over the image of his father that he actually went on a shooting spree. You could
Mhm.
call him a sniper at that particular time. So when we look at selling out, the actors who made it, you don't. These men and women didn't sell out, and when they with mom, as the roles were given to them, they were able to get more power and have a play that Mario Van Peebles Sr. Okay,
Mhm.
when he did Sweet Sweetback's Badass Song at that particular time, and his son did another movie that looked at he played his father in it. But
Mhm.
how Mario Van Peebles got that movie made, Bill Cosby gave him the money also to
Mhm.
help him make that movie. He had people in the industry who denied him money and things like that. And like there was one scene in the movie where there was a rope, and the father challenged him to climb up the rope because he's the only one that could do it. His kids couldn't do it, and something told him that he shouldn't do it because dad couldn't. The white dad couldn't make it all the way up. So he
Mhm.
got up there, and Mario Van Peebles Sr. got up and climbed up to the rope and touched the top and came down. And then the guy was mad at him because he disrespected him, the white man, in front of his kids, he felt. And he said, I must be the first N word to hang myself with my own rope.
Mm.
And the way he made that movie, and black exploitation was not a term that we used with it. These are some black power films that were coming out. Dolomite, same situation. These were hustles
Mhm.
that they were doing. So you have to look at what the story was that made these movies popular and gave us, the people, a chance to see black people on the big screen, no matter what it was. And
See,
then we even
see
had Jim
that
Kelly.
that part right there, and that part right there about did just for the purpose of seeing black people on the screen. Because there's a long time, and I know there's quite a few shows back in the day where there was no black people on it at all.
Hmm.
So what did we sacrifice or compromise as a people just to get on that screen?
Well, we'll never know that. That could be a person's, inner struggle. And think about it. As an actor, you now have all of a sudden someone's giving you the awesome responsibility to be the character of the entire race of people. And
Mm-hmm.
that's something that we shouldn't be. All right. Like Will Smith, what he did to Chris Rock um, was a horrible, horrible thing.
Mm-hmm.
And was Will Smith supposed to carry the hopes and dreams of our people on the screen? Um, no, no, these are actors. There's no white actor that you can name me other than well, John Wayne maybe at that time, who takes on currently the responsibilities of his people. Think about it. It's only
But see,
black people
but
we
see
put that pressure.
that's exactly what I was about to say. What you're saying is exactly what they want us to do. They want us to be representation of the whole community, everybody in the community. And if you get out of line, then ain't nobody else gonna get no other opportunity. And they've said it. I paid the way. Your lady for Star Trek, I can't remember her name.
Nichelle Nichols. Nichelle Nichols.
She had man, you know the responsibility that she had on her shoulders, man.
Mm-hmm.
She wanted to quit. She didn't want to do it any longer. Martin Luther King actually told her, "No, you can't quit.
That's right.
You cannot quit."
And she went on to be, she was the national spokesman for NASA for recruiting. Amongst HBCUs.
But you got to understand something. She wanted to quit. She didn't want to do it because of the level of responsibility and what she had to carry in playing that part.
Well, it was not also playing that part, but she was disrespected. The security guard knew who she was and would make her try to drive around or hold her up until she kept her mouth shut and everything until she finally went to Gene Roddenberry and he was infuriated at it. And it's like the hidden word. Like, people don't know that Gene Roddenberry and Nichelle Nichols and Gene Roddenberry's wife, Majel Barrett, were in a throuple together. Okay.
Wow.
So but that was her personal life. Everybody knew George Takei was gay except William Shatner. And it was the joke amongst the cast.
Yeah.
But look what George Takei, what he had to do as an Asian actor. And he has a play called Allegiance that talks.
Hold on. Let's stop now. We switching. Let's stay where we are, because like I said, if we pull something else, and then we got to talk about Latino. We got to talk about all the other people. So we're talking about the black aspect right now. So let's stay right there.
Let's stay on the black aspect.
Let me go to Toya with a T. Toya with a T. You with us? Toya, you there? Toya, wake up and go to sleep. Tucson, talk to me, brother.
Had you ever seen too many, maybe one or two, black on the Andy Griffin show?
I may have seen one.
I'll wait.
I may have seen
one show.
Hold on. When the guy went fishing, when the guy went fishing, I think that was the one show that I saw. That's the only one I saw. Where the guy went fishing.
There were some programs that didn't have none.
Yeah.
I'm almost willing to say the Beverly Hillbillies didn't have too many. It was a different, bringing out a different culture of people, but it wasn't none else. Andy Griffin, it was just this slow, back in the woods type of sheriff and deputy and little Aunt May and Opie but there was no real. I liked the show, really. I used to watch it all the time. But we wasn't in it.
No.
The Beverly Hillbillies brought somebody out of the hillbilly type people and made them rich. Eating fat back and possum fat and I remember when Granny marked the hippopotamus and said that was the biggest hog I ever seen.
I remember that one.
Yeah.
And May cut up a bunch of bell peppers and onions because we're gonna cut this jackrabbit up. But it wasn't us. So what I'm saying is there were some programs that made life more understanding because we were still fighting through the struggle. George Jefferson. Again, Archie Bunker, Good Times. We knew how it was to be poor.
Yeah.
and still have a man in the house.
Mm. Wow.
And then his another thing, and I know some of our ladies ain't gonna like it, but the man was the head of the household
Mm-hmm.
in Archie Bunker, in George Jefferson, even in Sanford and Son, even when his wife passed away, he still kind of led the family in trying to build something up, an empire
Mm-hmm.
for him and his son.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a kind of something that we could relate to, in a sense. It was funny, but it was more real than just me, because I knew what kind of. I don't know about nobody else, but Dad was in the home.
Mm-hmm.
My mom, unfortunately, well, I say unfortunate, but she didn't go to work.
Mm-hmm.
I never seen my mother go to work, not a day in my life, never. But Dad would function, not being there all the time, but when he hit the door, you knew who ran the house.
Mm-hmm.
Until I found out that really Mom ran the house.
Yeah.
Dad just made sure that we was provided for.
Yeah. He was just
So
the
that's what I'm saying.
mom ran the house, dad was the
Go ahead.
enforcer. Mom ran the house, but dad was just the enforcer.
She was the nurturer.
Yeah.
He was the enforcer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because she would tell Dad everything that went on along the week,
Mm-hmm.
and he was the disciplinarian.
Yeah. Yeah.
She
Exactly.
wouldn't, Eddie Murphy made a joke about Mom throwing a shoe across and made a corner, but my mama really would do that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see how that she would turn the corner when you try to run, and she'll bust you in the head in a minute.
Wow.
But what I'm saying is the family was important. The family structure. And every show that we're talking about, they had a structure that was kind of reality.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is just me. We don't really know where we are.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're still trying to create something new
Mm-hmm.
with a family. A family is all over the place these days.
Exactly.
Yeah, you just say it.
Exactly. Let me go to Rico, and we got another caller. We're gonna go to the call in just a second. Rico, talk to me, brother. Where are we at right now, man? What is really going on? What are you hearing?
Well, we under a spell. They say life imitates art, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So life imitates art, but art is supposed to be imitating life when it comes to entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
Because don't say the key word. When Black people want to see somebody they can relate to, identify with.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to realize that the people that originated entertainment, this form of entertainment that we have now, radio, music, movies, television shows,
Mm-hmm.
they understood the power and the influence of entertainment. This goes back to the first birth of a nation. And the president said, "Oh, this is the most influential movie in the history of mankind." You know how racist that movie was?
Mm-hmm.
It goes back to War of the Worlds. They actually made people have mental breakdowns, sent people into a frenzy over that entertainment. So it's been understood for the longest the power and influence of entertainment. And with those people that designed that system, that industry, they also understood that it was probably the most powerful tool or vehicle for agendas and propaganda, both positive and negative.
Mm-hmm.
And so with them understanding that power that is held, from that point forward, Black people understood that they had to find their place in it. Everybody wasn't acting like Stephen Fitch. Even he was embarrassed and conflicted before he died
Mm-hmm.
because he knew that was the only thing Hollywood allowed him to do.
Yeah.
So with us understanding how powerful entertainment is, we still, like I said earlier, we're trying to find our way in this white man's industry. They said the devil is the ruler of every system. And in this system that we decide that we want to be a part of, sometimes we don't want to be a part of it, but we got to be a part of it because of understanding how powerful it is, the
Mm-hmm.
influence that it has. Good times and different strokes actually gave some white people a different perspective of black people.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't all negative. It gave them a perspective of the experience.
Mm-hmm.
Now everybody didn't live like James in Florida.
Yeah.
Some people did live like George Jefferson.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was this guy they called a Black Godfather in Hollywood. You know, everybody didn't live like Dolomite.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I look at Dolomite is very. It was a step backwards for us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but it was a cult thing. You know, entertainment. That's how it goes. But we compromise. We're trying to find our way in that industry, in that system. Well, it reminds me of what Corey Holcomb said last night. If you do finally make it mainstream, 9 times out of 10 you've been violated. 99.9% of the time you have been violated, and
Mm.
you dealt with it. You accepted it. But some people refuse to accept it.
Mm-hmm.
So you have some that will get canceled, some that just won't be able to kick the doors in. You know, we know plenty of rappers, singers, different people that don't make it, and they should make it because they have the talent, but they can't be used for the agenda or the propaganda that Hollywood or the entertainment industry wants
Mm-hmm.
to promote. So
Mm-hmm.
it's always going to be a battle. It's always going to be a conflict for black people in the industry of once again trying to discern whether or not they're being laughed with or laughed at. If they're
Wow.
being a minstrel, or if they're being a groundbreaker.
Mm-hmm.
It's always going to be that in a battle trying to figure that out because that television is like witchcraft.
Mm-hmm.
It's casting spells left and right, and if you ain't careful, you'll get mesmerized by the lifestyle of the rich and famous, and you will be a sellout and love it and defend it,
Mm-hmm.
and,
Mm-hmm.
and, and at the same time have to deal with the consequences later on when you felt like you were trying to kick the door in. It's their system.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
You well, what could Stephen Fish do? He wanted to kick the door in. Nobody knew he was as educated and as smart as he was, as talented as he was.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was a very professional person, but you can't find a movie showing him being professional.
Almost like Buckwheat. Buckwheat was one of his not the smartest one on that set, but you'll never you
Exactly.
looking at the show, you'll never know that. You'll never know that because of the character that he was and I'm not gonna say forced to play because he made a choice and his family made a choice, a decision that he took the part. So he didn't have to take the part had he not wanted to, and they would have probably just given it to somebody else. And so I'm not gonna say that he was forced to do it, but he had to in order to make it in, he had to make certain accept certain sacrifices. I see it that way. I
He
think
had
that
to be violated.
yeah,
He
yeah,
had to
yeah,
be violated.
yeah, exactly, exactly. 508-924-3521, 508-924-3521. We have our guest. We have a guest on today. He's actually in the green room right now, gonna be out here with us in a few minutes. But I got a couple other people that just called in. Toya, she called back in. So Toya, what's on your heart? Ibrahim, I see you there, brother. I'm gonna come to you, and then we're gonna get to our guest. So Mark, hold on. We're gonna bring you in just a minute. Toya, what's on your heart?
Yeah, no, I'm glad Rico went there. I was gonna go there before I got off the phone about it being entertainment,
Mm-hmm.
about it being comedic, and those being a representation. So he kind of went where I was gonna go.
Mm-hmm.
Because my thing is this: I'm tired of taking them crumbs they're giving us when we were black people, and then they're making it seem like that we're supposed to get this rendition that we're kings and queens from
Mhm.
JJ.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
We're kings and queens from Mr. Jefferson.
Mm-hmm.
No, those were the crumbs they were giving us to set us up for today. Because we know that they were more powerful people, more popular people. We know that black people were more than any. I don't give a hoot what you put up about black people. It never shows the true reflection of who we really are. So for me to say that a Good Times or All in the Family or anything is a state of black people at that time, that's not true.
Mm-hmm.
That's the rendition or the rapport that we want to set forth to represent us. That's not true, but they know that those are tools and influences to have our minds think that we are less than. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Out of all the shows they had out there, how many black shows did they have? Not all the black shows that was out there after Richard Pryor and the Bill Cosby's entertained them behind doors, and they gave them permission to put those shows. They still saw the influence on those shows. Why we only have one Cosby show?
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Why we only have one different world? Huh? We got HBCUs all over the place. Why we didn't have multiple shows and sitcoms about the positions and the fights and the struggles of black people? But all the white people had all different kind of sitcoms, movies, and videos. And you want to give me this little crumb from the bottom of the bread bag, and then you want me to just walk around and just be yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I'm sorry. I'm not looking at it from there. It's entertainment. And even with it being entertainment, they still know that they were weaving a web that was deceiving us. And now this is what we're stuck with. But that was just one influence, like I said, what you watch. But then there was a multitude of influences, like the experiments they did with dropping stuff out of the sky, the experiments they did with us in medical rooms. Why didn't they put the truth on there?
Mm-hmm.
But these experiments are what helped influence the visions they were putting before us. Those other influences help support the ones we're putting in us, like the lead poisoning that's going to help us act like some of those people, right? Those influences we're watching, plus the influences that they're giving us, plus the influences that we're listening to, and we're asking, well, why shouldn't we be in this state? What tools do they provide for us from a visual level and an audio level, and let's say even educational level, that allows us to be more than where we are now? There aren't any. Because they always wanted to take it and keep us minimized. And that's what they do. So no, I'm not going to hail glory to most of the black shows that they put, especially not in the 60s. Don't get me wrong. Red Fox and them, they did what they had to do, right? And they took the outlets that they used. But we're not jokes.
Mm-hmm.
And none of that stuff back then was funny for black people. It was nothing funny about Mr. Jefferson calling a white man a hunky. It's disrespectful.
Mm-hmm.
It's nothing funny about a white man calling a black man a nigga. It's disrespectful.
Mm-hmm.
So they slick taught us disrespect. But at the same time, they taught us our places. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to entertainment versus what the real life is, no, they didn't do a good rendition of showing us who we are. They didn't do a good rendition of setting an example on who we should be. And I don't think it should be praised. Can we talk about it for what it is? Yeah, let's talk about it just like COVID. It was what it was.
Mm-hmm.
We went through what we went through. We acted how we acted. We did what we did. But it does not set the precedent on how the entire country acts outside of a pandemic. Everybody didn't do the same thing during COVID. Some people did the exact opposite. But if you come up with a movie and it just displays that all the black people died, like they said, because that's what they said, right? It's going to affect most of the black people. So can you imagine something coming out in 10 years and they showing during COVID all black people did was die? I mean, come on, man.
Wow.
Come on,
wow.
man. Let's just be real for what it is. Can you imagine them coming up with a movie saying that that bridge that fell, it was something that a black man did, and that's what they did, and it's in a comedic way? What do you think the next generation, how do you think the next generation is going to think that? They're going to take that be funny. Because I was going to say earlier, when you're laughing, Rico says it all the time about releasing them endorphins. So you think they're going to put up there that we out here killing, raping, and slicing your stomach open and putting on television and think that that joke is going to be funny to them? So they found a way to get what they wanted and to open up the door for all these other influences. You know what I'm saying? So
Wow,
again,
good
you know,
deal.
I'm on the other side of the giant. I'm on the other side of thinking that anything that they put on television for us was conducive in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Because it wasn't. It was a tainting of our minds. It was a tainting of our hearts. It was a tainting of our spirit. Because we looked at those shows and think that every black man's supposed to be a pimp or a Dolomite, which I'm with Rico. That was backwards in the all outdoors.
Good deal. Good
And if
deal.
it wasn't that, I'm a slave getting burnt. And if it wasn't that, I'm being disrespectful. I'm the black version of a white guy being disrespectful.
Okay.
It's untolerated and it's not conducive to where we're trying to go or where we need to be.
Okay, good deal. Good deal. We got a couple. We got two other people that's with us. We're gonna go to them, and then we're gonna go to our guest. We got a guest. He's actually waiting in the green room right now, so we're gonna bring him in just a few minutes. But let me go to Ibrahim. Ibrahim, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning? Cassandra, coming to you next.
So blessings and Rico, good to hear you. Good to hear you out there. You made some points, and the sister ahead of me made some points. May I use two words? Subliminal suggestions. You know, I was in college in the 80s. They were talking about that when they started making roadwork. It was things like you would see the screen is moving so many frames a minute, a second. And they would put a Coca-Cola logo or something up in there, a Pepsi logo, during the movie. And then you would see that subliminally, but you wouldn't see it actually. So then you get up, you go up and go get your Coke.
Mm-hmm.
You know, doing, you know, when they used to have breaks during the movies, right? And so they railed against that, so they came with a new idea. It's called product placement. You'll see products in a movie and everything, right? Some scenes in the movie, you see a product, they reach for this product or they talk about this product, you know, in the movie kind of quickly. Don't really mention it's not part of the movie. But then you look at that and say, oh, that's what people like. So also comes to another point between some things Rico said and it's in front of me. I'm sorry I didn't catch your name. That I have a problem. And we've talked on this show, and I've heard Brother Tucson and other people talk on this show. We present some things might sound archaic because you weren't there, you didn't see it. But when I talk about something, everybody want to question me and say, oh, that didn't happen. This would happen. This would happen. I mentioned Martin Luther King and some other people. I'll be trying to show you that anybody can be a Martin Luther King. We had a big argument one time. I was kicked off the show a couple of times about it. But the point is, this is what I saw. I knew the man. I was there. And I had an opinion. The opinion that people had around him and the people in the world at the time that knew him and worked with him and amount that actually knew about the issues and putting things in context, right? So what we do in these movies and things, like a lot of movies coming out about the March on Washington and everything, which was basically true, but they omitted a lot of information, you know. And people today tell me, well, look what Martin Luther King did in the March on Washington. And it had nothing to do with that. He was put in place by President Kennedy, which is the truth. The I Have Dreams, we had nothing to do about the whole movement at that time in context or after that. That was the man's thought that how he wanted to see his world, which he never accomplished, right? So, you down in Martin Luther King? I'm not downing him. I'm trying to put you in plain view. The thing about, and it was mentioned about good times and all that. You know, a lot of people say that gentleman that put all that Jewish gentleman put all that on, he was really a racist guy in the way he put it on because they wanted to see it differently. The people that actually wrote that script, there was one guy telling me he was a writer for all that, and he got middlemen kicked out a lot of times, right? He said it was a whole different thing, but the way they practiced it to bring comedy, and more white people entertained by that than black people. Black people were not entertained by that. But when we mentioned that, we mentioned black people. You remember James and Flora? James was in the good time because that's the way the project was at the time. The whole family could stay, the men over 18, everything, right? But in actuality, they started kicking the men out. So a man could not be part of the project. You could not have a job, right? The 40-year project, it was actually started back you know, a lot of places to take land away from black people and place them, but they believed that was out of shanty towns, they believed that was a better type of place for them to live free or either less expensive, and they make this to take care of everything. That's the way it all started out. But it became a dissolution of the family where young girls could have a baby and have her own life, her own apartment, own money, and everything. It was a way to get out the house. It became a whole, and we argued about it in the 90s, the 80s, and the 90s, and the early 2000s, but somehow it seems to escape people today what was going on, right? What was the plan? What was the project? Why they called it project? Because it was a 40-year project. So I go on, right? And then we say something. But the way we look at things today is an opinion of other people. And it drives me crazy when I try to talk, so I put things in context about the past and see what people's aspirations was and what we actually wanted or did. It becomes a joke. You know, we use people like Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor, if you remember some of his SNL shows, right? You know, they had a whole theme about nigger cracker. I'm sorry, use the word. You had a whole skit about that. You know, a white man telling a black man what's up. The black man getting angry and telling him, you know, using the other word that he used. He would use the other word that we had for them.
Good deal.
But we don't think about that. We think about people looking at us and telling us how they thought that we were acting and what we were doing, what we meant.
Okay. Stay right there, brother. Stay right there, brother. Stay right there. Ibrahim, stay right there, brother. We got to keep it moving. I got to go to Cassandra. I got my guest in the green room. I want to bring him into the broadcast as well. Cassandra, what's on your heart? Appreciate you, brother. Cassandra, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning. I don't think I know the context of what we're talking about.
We talking about entertainment and how we had to take certain roles and we had to be shown in a certain light, in order to make it? Did we sacrifice? Do we sell out to a certain degree in order to make it in the film, television, and movie industries?
Well, I don't call it selling out. Well, if we didn't have the people that played Mammy and some of the other ones that we find disgusting now and belittling now, a lot of people that are doing it right now would not be in the industry. So there were door openers that it wasn't the best door, but it was the only door at the time for them to walk through. And I hate that we make these people that were only trying to open doors and taking opportunities that were given at that time. That's all they could get. It wasn't that they weren't smart. It wasn't any of that. It was what was available at that time. I prefer to see them, that some of the doors that were opened that made way for other people to come in. I prefer seeing that than to not see anything. And you can call it sellout or whatever you want to call it. But now in the entertainment industry, we have people that have the ability to do better, but they don't do better. They still desire to put the crap out, and that's what they do. They put the stereotypical junk that people already believe about us, and they bring it to full view for them to say, oh yeah, that's the way they are. That's the way they really are. But we're doing it now. Ain't nobody making us do it now.
Cassandra,
if you're doing it because you want to do it.
Cassandra, let me ask you this
Not
question.
because it's necessary.
Cassandra, let me ask you this question, because it's been said, and we're gonna do this. We got a couple other callers just calling out, but we gotta get our guest in. The guest is in the green room waiting. We gotta bring him in. But let me ask you this question, Cassandra. How do you deal? Because I know how you feel about this person, and so I think I know what your answer is going to be. But what do you say to the people that says Tyler Perry is actually feeding that beast in some of the ways that he depict some of his characters?
Okay, the main reason that Black people, especially certain Black people, the main problem they have with him is that he wears the Medea. The Medea portrays being a woman or whatever.
That Cassandra.
No, that's the main. That's the main thing that people have.
That might be, but
listen
to me. They also say that he don't shine a lot of Black men in a very positive light. They're always less than.
Where? Because I've done every one of his shows and most of his movies. When does he do that? I don't see that. And I've been on set with him. I see how he interacts with Black men. I see the roles that he gives them. I don't agree with all of the roles, but I definitely have never seen him demean Black men. And if you call the fact that he that has a Medea, it's a character. He's an actor. I don't think people realize what acting is. You not portray, it's not who you are. I played a prostitute. I played a homeless person. That's not who I am. That's a character that I play. I played a murderer. It's okay. I can't say any more about it because, we all have our opinions of, and the thing that really bothers me the most is that people that have no idea what goes on in the entertainment industry because they've never been a part of it, actually been a part of it. They have and Black people especially, we have some of the most negative stuff to say about any Black person almost that's been successful in the entertainment industry. We tear them down. It ain't be the white people. It don't be the white people. It be us. But, it is what it is.
Good deal. Good deal. Well, listen, we could talk more about this. We could go just a lot deeper. We could go into this topic, but we do have our guest, and I want to bring my guest in right now. He's actually in the green room, so I want to bring him on screen this morning. Good morning, sir. How are you doing this morning? This is Mr. Joseph. Good morning, Joseph.
Hey, good morning. How are you, sir?
Hey, doing well, doing well. I want you to tell them pretty much what you're doing and what your mission is and why you're here, and we're going to get into a little conversation. I said we don't do the interviews. We're going to have a conversation, but it's introduce yourself and tell them exactly who you are, sir.
Well, for those of you who don't know, my name is Joseph Mark, and I'm running on the Democratic ticket this election season to be your next Gwinnett County Sheriff. I'm a lifelong resident. I have a law enforcement background, a military background. I own a business here in Gwinnett. And I really think that the situation that we've got going on inside the facility right now, well, first of all, there's just a vacuum of leadership. And, there's a lot of things. It's a domino effect that happens when something that significant in an organization that large. Imagine being locked up for 23 hours a day, 5, 6, 7 days a week. Not being able to see your loved ones, being in a room with 2 other grown adults, with one sleeping on the floor, with the head adjacent to the toilet. I mean, this is it's literally a humanitarian crisis, and I use that term not very lightly. Like, I don't know what else we can do, say, prove to get people involved, in this situation. I mean, we have to do something. We have to do something.
Mm-hmm. Now, Judo, let me ask you this. What is it, once you get in office, let's say it that way, once you get in office and you are the sheriff of Gwinnett County, what is the first mission that you want to do once you walk into your office for the first time on the first day?
First thing I'm going to do is deputize every freaking officer that's in the county with all the other agencies. That's priority number one. The other thing we need to focus on is I've got a group of talented officers and deputies that have either worked at the sheriff's office currently and left, or they're from the surrounding metropolitan area. We desperately need more sworn deputies. It's dangerously understaffed. Dangerously.
Wow.
I mean, you've got 20 people, 15 people showing up when they're supposed to be, 48 to 52. To fill that shift, they're having other deputies. They have to come in, mandatory overtime. It's not an option. So they have, 8-hour shifts over there. So imagine working 8 hours and then having the choice of going home for 8 hours and coming back, or working another 8-hour shift.
Wow.
16 hours, 5, 6 days a week. That's a very high stressful job. And who's looking after their mental health, their well-being? I mean, you're literally, other human beings are literally dependent upon other human beings for their food, shelter, medical attention, their clothes, their hygiene. Now, we need those individuals at the top of their game. You know what I'm saying? Like, people die. I mean, people have died.
Yes.
I mean, we've got somewhere around, I've heard as many as 17 in the last 3.5 years have died in custody. I've heard firsthand stories of people losing their loved ones. Them trying to release a person on their own recognizance after they've been sent from the jail to the hospital because of a suicide attempt or some other type of medical emergency. We need to figure out what's going on. Why? Okay, you'll hear about money, pay, and things. We've heard all that. And yes, I think law enforcement officers should be paid more, especially with the cost of living and so forth.
Yes.
But to use that as an excuse that nobody wants to be in law enforcement here in Gwinnett County, I think has no basis. You got no leg to stand on, because all the municipalities are pretty much full. You've got Forsyth County, one county north of us. They're 100% full and have a waiting list, from what I understand. And you got Cherokee County. So it just seems like when you have 30 years of the same experience, right? Imagine being a police officer, working your way up through the ranks, getting into a leadership position. I mean, that's all you know. It's almost like and I don't want to speak for other people's feelings, but in a way, people can feel almost entitled, like, hey, I paid my dues. There's some truth to that. If you have an ambition to work your way up through the ranks and eventually be in charge, then, that's a career goal that I'm sure many people share. But I just think at the end of the day, to lead an organization like that, you need to be, in a way, removed from it, because that's going to prevent problems like nepotism, putting your friends in positions that really aren't qualified to be there. You know, I mean, let's be real here. I mean, that happens all the time, not just in law enforcement, everywhere.
Exactly.
You know, especially in law enforcement. I mean, you really got to know what you're doing, honestly.
Now, Gwinnett County, from my understanding, is the largest county in the state of Georgia.
It's up there. It's either number one or number two.
Yeah, exactly. And to say that it's undermanned, you may have to, and I don't know. I'm not running for sure. You know this much better than I do, but you may have to clean house a little bit and get some of the ones in there that are not there for the right reasons or wanting to do the job. Get them out and fill those voids.
Yes.
What do you say to that?
I agree with you very, very much. And you know, you don't just want anybody doing this job. So out of the original people that I've gotten, I'm humbled to say that, you know, there is a substantial amount of people waiting. We're going through their personnel files and looking for things like, you know, use of force incidents, complaints on how they communicate with people, because communication in life is important. I mean, you know, that old saying, when words fail, wars begin. When wars finally end, we settle our disputes. Or something. There's a quote that says that. I mean, that's very true. We have to be able to talk to people. And I know it's hard. When I was a young officer, right, police officer working on patrol, I was pretty ambitious, right? But you have to have the veteran and the seasoned individuals to pull you back and say, hey, man, you can't talk to people like that. Or, you know, that's not how you handle the situation. And we're having officers that have been officers and deputies for 2-3 years now field training new recruits. Listen, I mean, you know the procedure, but you don't have that real world knowledge, that experience, you know, that you get from being on the street or being in an industry. And we need those people to come back to help mentor the young people and see, where do you want to be in 3 to 5 years? What are your career goals? You know what I'm saying? So we need to restructure and reorganize that whole thing. And I'm very, very confident that I can do that. Not because I'm some super genius, but because of the background I've got and the fact that I am in a position, and I will do it. I'm going to put people in place that are competent and deserve to be there. Not only because I believe it, but they have to have respect from their peers.
Yes.
What's the point of being a sergeant or a corporal or a lieutenant or whatever if you got to turn around and ask, you know, a master deputy how to do your job every day? And unfortunately, that has happened because of one reason or another. But again, with proper organization and training, we can avoid all of those situations completely.
Exactly. Now, we have quite a few people here, and I know they want to ask you questions as well. So, good deal. But what I want to ask you right now is, I've seen in the news for the last few years how officers deal with people that have mental illness. Now, and some of them is not the best light. How they're acting and interacting with people with disabilities. What are you going to put into place so that your officers have a better grasp on dealing with somebody that may have a mental illness?
That's a great question. I've heard as much as 80% of the individuals that are currently being held in that jail right now have some kind of a struggle with mental health or drug addiction. I was told last week, as a matter of fact, there's actually up to 200 individuals right now that can be released from the jail, but there's no place to put them. And what I mean by that is a sober living facility. There is a lack of open beds here in this county for people to, you know, the judges can mandate them, okay, let's get you out of jail, because my opinion is, if you have an issue like that, you don't need to be in jail. You need to be in a drug treatment facility or a medical facility that can better facilitate your health and you know, monitor you and stuff. Being locked up in a jail has got to be, man, I can't even tell you what that's got to be like. It's horrible.
Almost inhumane to do.
I got to answer your question. I got off on a tangent. I don't want to duck it. So I'm working with the best professionals I could find. And I mean that sincerely. Jacob Baird is an advisor of mine currently. He is literally a subject matter expert on stuff like that. I'm seeking advice and guidance from other mental health professionals, nonprofits that are here in the community that have a sterling reputation of not only supporting the community, but working close at hand with law enforcement currently. So they're important. We got to get these people in there. Again, I don't have the answers, but education, discussion, and this is going to be like my campaign, Uniting Communities. That's not a slogan. I really mean that because I use this analogy of my hand. Like, let's just say this is what the hand of justice, right? You've got DA's office, solicitor, police, sheriff, probation. If I swat you with a finger, it's not going to really do much, but annoy you. You know, if I have like my whole hand, now I'm going to upset you. If I close my hand and hit you with the full hand of justice, meaning we're all together, church groups, everybody united, now we can start to really make an impact on the crime here in our county. Not only the crime, but the recidivism rate, the rate at which people are reoffending. And that's huge. The reason is because there's nothing for these individuals. You know, I mean, look, I'm 44, 45 years old, depending on what day of the week it is. And, you know, luckily, you know, I'm not an angel. You know, I spent a lot of time in the Army doing fun stuff, but I've never been in jail, right? So imagine me, Joseph Mark, at my age, I get arrested. I go out with my buddies and I'm, you know, been drinking or whatever, disorderly. I get out of jail at 2:00 in the morning and I don't have anything. You know, you're doing a walk up the street to the Quick Trip, and then where do you go? You got to reach somebody. You know, I can tell you what, I'm not sleeping outside. I've been there and done that. My time for that is over. You know, and I'm being a little bit more dramatic, but the serious issue is like these people that get out of jail, it's a very defeating feeling to be like, oh, well, I'm worse off out here than I am in there. At least in there, I had 3 hot meals, a place to sleep, clothes on my back, you know, and medical access to medical treatment.
Yeah.
So we have to assess, you know, obviously the whole system of individuals committing crimes, arrested by police, detained by the sheriff, going through the court system, and back out. Obviously, this is not working, clearly, right?
Yeah.
So we need to sit down and collectively, and I mean collectively, put our heads together and really sit down and talk about the problems that are plaguing our community. The youth. There are no activity centers really that I'm aware of. Yeah, I'm sure there's stuff here and there, but there's no large, well-known program for youth.
Yeah.
You know, my family immigrated here before my time. My wife's family immigrated here before my time. Why? Because we wanted a better quality of life, right? So we worked hard. Well, back then it was different, you know. My parents worked 2 jobs, both of them, when I was growing up. You know, my dad worked during the day and took care of us at night. My mom went out at night, and then they swapped until we could get on our feet and get up, you know. So I remember that growing. I remember being at Gwynn Oaks Elementary School, not being able to get in touch with my parents. You know, the phone got cut off.
Wow.
When we came down here, when I was a young baby, my sister was 1, maybe 2. Heck, I even have a Georgia Social Security number.
Wow. Okay.
So, but nowadays you have all these outside influences, Facebook, Instagram, you know, pop culture influencing these youth, and that's all they know. And if mom and dad are working, or mom or just dad's out working, you know, who's left to raise the kid? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
We have to collectively do better, right? So I'm, like I said, I'm a business owner here in Gwinnett. Well, I just recently, got rid of the company because of the campaign and everything. So I've profited off my community, and I've got a network of other business owners that have profited off of our community and support. We're very thankful for our community support. It's time for us to give back, okay? And not just talk about it. It's legit time to do
Mhm.
something. We got mentorship programs that we're doing. I've
Mhm.
got a network of realtors, HVAC guys, electricians, financial planners, barbers, cosmetologists.
Yes.
You name it, these individuals will be part of the mentorship program, and we're going to be giving folks training and education while they're incarcerated. And
That's
if they end up getting out before their training and stuff has completed, then
Mhm.
we're going to have facilities. And I'm working with like Tackle the Shackles program, Pastor Robbins. I mean, there are so many great organizations that are
Mhm.
available that are no cost to the taxpayer.
Good deal.
Why are we not working together? Like, I don't,
Absolutely.
it's mind boggling to me why we're not doing this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm gonna go to a few people. I know they've been waiting very patiently, so I want to go to them. Cassandra, do you have a question and or concern? Rico, be on standby. Coming to you next. Cassandra, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
I just, one of the things that he mentioned, the gentleman mentioned, well, somebody mentioned what had to do with mental health.
Yes.
And of course, I lost my nephew, Jamal Sutherland, in 2021, killed by police in Charleston, South Carolina. And he was in schizophrenic crisis. And instead of him remaining at the hospital where he checked himself into, he was sent to a jail and ended up dead the next morning. And we have to do something when it comes to mental illness. Cobb County, I will give them this. Cobb County has developed a program where they have a staff of people that deal, if they think that a person is in some type of mental health crisis, they now have a unit where that person will go to be examined and kept separate from other people. There has to be something to stop some of the death and the danger that mentally ill people are dealing with. Right now, I'm on my way to Roger Fortson, the young man that was killed by police in Florida. Of course, his family is from here. I'm on my way to his homegoing because I'm a part of Impacted Families, and his family invited us to come and support them. So we have issues with the police that needs to be resolved. There has to be better communications in the community because these deaths have got to stop.
Yes.
If you're afraid, then you don't need to be a policeman. If you're afraid of Black people, you don't need to be a policeman. So I want to know, I heard the gentleman talking, what exactly, what kinds of plans do you have for your county should you be put in place?
Yes, ma'am. First of all, sincerely, I'm terribly, terribly sorry for your loss. From the bottom of my heart, I mean it. That's going to be tough. To answer your question specifically, it's going to be a multifaceted approach. Number one, because Gwinnett is so large and so diverse, I can't be everywhere at once.
Mhm.
And I genuinely think that my role as the sheriff is to stay in my lane, right? I have to execute the will of the people and put my command staff and my deputies in place, right, to execute that properly. Okay. So number one, I'm going to do that. Number two, I have an ambassadorship program that I'm launching. And right now I have leaders from the community. It can be anybody, church pastor, members from the Asian community. I've got delegates from the Muslim community, African-American community, Latino community, you name it, you can come and sit in and be part of my, you'll obviously got to be fingerprinted, background check, but that once that's done, you're going to have access to my administration. You can sit in on briefings. If there's an incident in your community, tell me firsthand. You don't have to call. You don't have to send an email or talk to a secretary. You come down or get with your delegate or whomever, come down and listen for yourself. The other thing is that I used to use the expression we have to rebuild trust.
Mhm.
Well, I changed that because I think the trust is gone. I don't think there's anything. We have to build it. Forget about rebuilding. We need to build it from the ground up and start a little bit at a time, little bit at a time. And I had an individual ask me once, for transparency, because I'm huge on transparency. There's nothing in the jail going on that people cannot be privy to. I mean, candidly speaking, there's no top secret stuff going on over there. You know what I mean? So we need to open that jail up, make it easier for people to get in and out, right? And that's my responsibility, and I'll do that. And then we need to make sure that not only can they get to see their family members, that they need to be able to see other professionals, doctors, mental health professionals, school counselors, so forth. We have to make sure that they can do that from the deputy standpoint, because they're real people too. And we need to work on their mental health, because it should be, oh, thank goodness the cops are here, not, oh, great, the cops are here, right? To be a police officer or a sheriff's deputy, you got to be a unique individual, right? Imagine rolling up on a scene and interacting with the public at the worst part of their lives. They've been a victim of a crime, they've committed a crime, and they're scared, they don't know what's going to happen. We should be calm, not mad or ruffled because you won't answer my questions. Like, what do you expect people to do? My culture, we're very animated and loud people. You may think we're having a domestic dispute, and I'm just asking my wife what the heck we're going to eat for dinner. And my kid, what I'm saying? That's just our culture, how we are. But to an outsider that's not used to that, that can be kind of like overwhelming. Like, what's wrong with you people? You're crazy. Now imagine going up on scene and dealing with me. I'm going to be mad. You're going to be mad, right? So I'm sorry, officer, that I don't want to talk to you right now. And us as officers should understand, hey, sir, I understand that you've had a traumatic experience. I really need your cooperation in order for me to do my job. I understand you're upset. Like I said, it's normal. I would be mad too. Do me a favor, please. Take 5-10 minutes. I'm going to walk over here, talk to somebody else. And when I come back, if you and I could have a dialogue, that would really be great. Thank you. I appreciate it. And then move on down the road, man. The man doesn't want to talk to you. He doesn't want to talk to you. So, and the final thing is education again. I want individuals and the citizens to know what it's like to do our job and get to meet us. So I've got a dog walk with alumni from the Jail Dogs program. These are not the Jail Dogs program themselves. I want to be very, very specific about that. That is a nonprofit. They have not endorsed me or consented by any stretch. These are individuals that have come through the program. We're going to have these kinds of interactions. I want you to meet my deputies in the civilian clothes with their families. We're going to have events with you bring your family, meet ours, to kind of humanize things, right? I want to hire men and women from these vast, diverse communities to represent their communities in our office, right? Our public service should mirror our constituents, right? We need more diversity, more, and there's other jobs than just a gun-toting deputy. We've got civilian jobs and computer jobs. And, I really want to focus on Gwinnett County. No offense to the other counties or whatever, but we need to take care of ourselves, man. Make sure our own people are good. Make sure the homeless are taken care of and they're safe. There's no place for them to go. All of these things, in one way or another, falls under law enforcement's role. And by me working closely with the police department, because that's their job, my job is not to answer calls for service or to investigate crimes. My job is to stay within my constitutional obligations. And that's the jail, the courts, sex offenders, civil process, things of that nature, warrants, and, unfortunately, not the mental health task force. Now, I do want to give some credit to Sheriff Taylor. He's got that mental health task force, and he's doing, I believe, the best of his capabilities with what he's got to combat that issue. I cannot fault individuals who try their hardest, even if they fail. You know what? They're trying. They made an effort. Okay. So I want to first and foremost give credit to that, man, because it needs to be done. But we just need to get in there and properly assess, because we need to focus on the mental health in the jail, not answering calls for service mental health.
Mhm.
And that's, I think, primarily, and I say I think because I haven't been able to talk to anybody specifically in that unit, so I don't know what it is they do other than the printed narratives that we've got.
Mhm.
So I want to go on the record and say at this particular point, I'm not really going to talk a lot because it's all speculative. I
Mhm.
really don't know what I'm talking about. What I can tell you is that it's not working.
Mhm.
And we need to assess why it's not working
Mhm.
and put a better plan together.
I want to ask you this question because in talking to you and having this conversation with you, it come across like you really care, like you
I do.
really care.
I don't have to do this.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, what is the passion? Where does the passion come from?
It comes from several directions. Number one, this is my home. I have lived in Gwinnett County my entire life. Yes, I was born in New York, and those first few years we go up and back every holiday because we don't know anybody.
Mhm.
But I've been here my whole life. My family's here. My sister's here. Her husband, his family are here. My parents are here. My wife, her family are here. Everybody's here. My doctors, this is my home. And my wife and I are blessed. I mean, we have a gorgeous home. We've worked very, very hard for it. And I don't want to see that destroyed. I don't want to see the crime because the vast majority of the crime that's happening, I believe, are from perpetrators from outside our county. They're
Mhm.
coming inside the county to prey on the citizens because they understand the current state of our law enforcement. It's
Mhm.
not good. We are dangerously understaffed.
Wow.
Dangerously understaffed. God forbid, and again, I have to walk a fine line because I don't want to make it look like I'm disparaging the
Yeah.
people that are doing the job because
Mhm.
it's not their fault. I need to figure out a way to bring these issues to light to the citizens because the citizens have a right to know this stuff. So
Mhm.
I've always walked over the last 15 months on eggshells trying to say this because my intent is not to slander anybody. My intent
Mhm.
is not to disparage the men and women over there working because they're working they need like hero medals as far as I'm concerned.
Exactly.
I mean,
Let me ask you this question. Then we're gonna go to Rico, and we got quite a few other people that's holding on right now. And I definitely appreciate all y'all's patience. Thank you very much.
I got all the time in the world, man.
There you go. There you go. I appreciate that. You sheriff. You are the sheriff, and you walk in 6 months, a year into it. You realize, man, this is a lot. This is a lot. There's a lot that I didn't know of. That this is a lot. How do you one deal with that, knowing that, and how do you go out and get the help that you need, or do you go out and get the help that you need in order to kind of ease the road a little bit, ease the ride?
Well, I think that there is so much that is going on that I don't even know what I don't know. I will readily admit that. But again, my background and my skill set has given me the skills to think on my feet quickly, make a well-informed command decision quickly.
Mm-hmm.
You acquire those skills, unfortunately, having to serve in combat. And then on top of that, you got people's lives that you're responsible for too.
Mm-hmm.
So not only do you have to make decisions that affect you and how you live, but them as well. So I have an ability to do that. The other thing is I've always preferred to work as a team. Surround myself with individuals that are smart and good at what they do, that have a humble personality. We have to have humility because right now, nobody's asking the men and women that are in the trenches, metaphorically speaking, day in and day out that do that job. Hey, what can we do to implement something that make your job a little easier? What can we do as your command staff to change policy that would make things go a little smoother for you? You see, nobody's taking the time to do that.
Mm-hmm.
In sales, right? I had a printing business at one time, and it wasn't like what I thought the marketplace wanted. I adapted my business. You tell me what you want and I'll make it for you.
Yeah.
So it takes a lot of the guesswork out. And it's the same thing when it comes to transparency, right? I didn't finish my statement earlier. I saw a rabbit go down the street. No, seriously, like the transparency is you guys as citizens, tell me what you need. What can I give you that will instill the confidence that I'm not only going to do what I say I'm going to do, but I will implement policies and procedures that will prevent things like this from happening again.
Mm-hmm.
Just tell me. Let's just sit down and talk.
Yeah. Have the dialogue.
And then it's not difficult. You guys put me in office. You can very easily take me out, as Sheriff Taylor's finding out now. I don't think he's going to make it. I don't. But that's for God, really.
Excuse me. Mm-hmm. Wow. Let me go to Rico. Rico, you have a question and or concern?
Well, no, not really. Being I'm in Alabama, he's in Gwinnett County.
Mm-hmm.
I could pretty much ask a question that other people from Gwinnett County might ask.
Yes.
And that would be, how would you go about keeping those human beings in check that get under the influence of authority or power? And and do you have an avenue that other cops would be able to utilize to report other policemen that may be out doing corrupt business?
That's a good question. Here's my stance on things. I don't care about optics, what something perceives it's going to be. I care about what's legally right, morally and ethically right. That's what I care about. It's my job to communicate a use of force scenario, if there is one. It's my job to provide transparency to the community about what happened in a timely manner. We don't want to have a news reporter break something that happened 3 or 4 days ago. And I'm like, oh yeah, by the way, we had this happen. No, we're going to address things head on. And sometimes it's going to be uncomfortable. And unfortunately, I do have to clean house. There are some individuals that may not or don't, they really don't fit the need. So that kind of comes from the top down. That leadership, that environment, that culture, it stems from the top down. If me as the sheriff are acting a specific way, that's going to encourage my deputies to do the right thing and be proud of it, then the bad apples, they're going to go away organically on their own because their colleagues aren't going to take it. Mm-hmm. They're not going to take it. If I'm fostering an environment of right, then the person that's doing wrong, that individual isn't going to last long.
Yeah.
They're going to be, we handle things in the military a little different. When you have an issue of somebody getting ready, we handled it. I promise you, we handled it in our own way. And that's just how it was. So when you understand that when you make choices, there's consequences for those choices and actions. And I got to tell you, I will back my people up until the day I am no longer the sheriff if they're doing the right thing. If you're wrong, I'm going to make an example out of you. Plain and simple. You may be staying in the room next door to what you were just guarding.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tolerate that. We have to have trust. But I got to tell you, it will be fair. And there are going to be situations that are going to happen. Unfortunately, I believe that may not be popular with the citizens. But if it's the right thing to do, you can be mad at me all you want because you don't like what I'm saying. But it will be with respect. And it'll be the truth to the citizens. And I'm willing to do whatever it is to help mitigate any kind of possible situation from happening again. So I have identified, I believe, the problem children. They will be properly, I think they're just going to handle themselves, candidly speaking. They know who, I've been around a minute, a lot of those people over there, they know who I am. They know my personality. So I'm not concerned about it. So in answer to his question again, I promise you that I will handle it publicly. And by building the relationship between the citizens, I want citizens to shadow a deputy for a day. Come
Mhm.
work a shift in the jail next to a deputy, do a ride along, and see for yourself how things are happening, how things go on a civil process with another deputy, a day in a life. And we've got media things that we're going to be doing inside the sheriff's office. We're going to have our own version of like live PD, for instance.
Mhm.
We're going to control the narrative, and it's
Yeah.
going to be unscripted, unedited, so you see the truth and not
Mhm.
highlights of what you may glorify on the 5 o'clock news.
Exactly. I've heard it said that domestic violence are some of the most dangerous calls that you can go on
Yeah.
as law enforcement. What do you have in place to kind of eat? And I heard what you said, and I love what you said about the conversation and stepping away for a minute and coming back and giving that person a chance to kind of simmer down a little bit.
Yeah.
But is there anything else that you have in place in regards to domestic violence so you can safeguard your officers as well as the community?
No, not at this time. The reason being is Gwinnett County Sheriff's Office is not a full service sheriff's office. I think that there are policies and procedures that we can implement to prevent an internal domestic disturbance. It's a very stressful job, and unfortunately, the officers and firefighters and people with stressful jobs have a tendency to come home and take that stuff out, not on purpose, right?
Mhm.
So I think that there are things that we can do in an organization. Have an occupational health therapist there for their body aches, wearing all that equipment, having available mental health counseling to them if they're going through a situation. Because we're people too. We have loved ones that die. We have members of our families that struggle with addiction or mental health. Those things are everybody. They affect everybody, no matter how much money you make,
Mm-hmm.
how good of a Christian or whatever you want to. They affect everybody. So we have to understand that. And unfortunately, with us in law enforcement, if those things affect law enforcement officers, that's a trickle downhill effect that, to me, is inexcusable. We need to hold ourselves to a higher standard. And as professionals in this industry, we need to be able to confidently recognize when we're having situations like that and be able to go and seek help and treatment without feeling retaliated against.
Yes.
Drinking. I know a lot of officers, they struggle with drinking issues because, again, if we're just keeping it real, it's a stressful job. People
Yes, it
like,
is.
let's have a beer. That's the culture we live in. And the fact that nobody talks about this, to me, we're just kind of sweeping it up under the rug and wondering why Officer so-and-so just clicked off safe and went bananas on some dude over, some cigarettes or something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you wonder why stuff like that happens. It's because it's building up, man, and we got to make sure that doesn't happen. And that goes along with training. So the other thing I'm going to ask the commissioners for is additional men and women to staff sworn deputies. I want to have above and beyond what I'm required. The reason I want to have that is so we can rotate them in and out. Right? If we have extra, an extra 20% on staff, we can have jailers rotate out so they can decompress and go to training and work an 8:30 to 4:30 job. Go home, be with your family. Slack off a little bit. I'm using that term loosely, but I think you understand what I'm trying to convey.
Yes.
Have a lighter schedule, but they can go and rotate back into their original position without fear of them being passed up. So if we can rotate them out, not only just the jail deputies, but the warrant guys, the civil deputies, the patrol officers. There is a small, crime suppression unit, I believe, in there that, they may have gotten rid of it because of the manpower. But the point is that we can rotate people out, let them decompress without having the need to, or having to feel that they're going to lose their take-home car or they're going to lose their position that they've worked years for. Which brings me to another point that I'll discuss later. But it's important because training right now is not getting done. It's not getting done, not because of the lack of responsibility. It's not like because they're shirking their duties. It's so understaffed. There's no time for training. I mean, think about that. You got these people working and working. They're not having time to adequately train. The other thing is that's a 24-hour facility. You know, when you've got deputies working the night shift, you know, and then they got to go through training all the next day. Why aren't we setting up the training to accommodate them on their schedule at night?
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to have people having to drive tired. That's more dangerous than driving intoxicated.
Exactly.
We need to start using more common sense. I don't know how else to say it. Like,
yeah, that's it. That's it. That's absolutely it right there. Let me go to Mo. Mo, do you have a question and or concern? Mo, are you there? Okay. Mo may have stepped away for a second. Toya, what a T, you have a question and or concern? Everybody may have stepped away from us for a second or two, but that's okay. We got more people on here. We got Kay with the E. She's actually out of Kansas City. She's out of Kansas City, I believe it is. Kay, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning. I'm blessed, and you all?
Blessed as well. So it's good to have you. Good to have you. Do you have any questions and or concern?
I know he's a law enforcement, but
well, he's actually running for the sheriff, for the head honcho in Gwinnett County. In Gwinnett County. Exactly. Which is the largest county in the state of Georgia. He's actually running for the sheriff, and we thinking he's going to get it. But do you have any questions and or concerns?
No, I'm just gonna keep him lifted up in prayer because that's one heck of a job. And he sounds like he definitely the man for it. And we're going to keep him lifted up in prayer. And once he gets the job, he's going to get it. So we're going to claim it.
There you go.
When you get in office, you make sure you get back on this line so that we can encourage you to continue to do what you're doing.
Absolutely. And we got a few other people that's there. I'm sure the ones that was there may have stepped away just for a second, maybe feel their coffee cup or something. But let me ask you this question, Joseph. Once you get in, once you are the sheriff, what is the way? And you seem like a very approachable young man. How do you say thank you to the community? How do you thank the community for the opportunity and the blessing that they have given you to be the sheriff over Gwinnett County?
I'm going to tell you straight up, I've thought about that a lot because this is just such a humbling. I have had so many people put their name on me, back me up. I can't fail at this. Like, I don't think everybody understands how much is riding on me to perform. If I don't perform, I really, honestly, I'll have to move. I say that.
Wow.
But it's the truth. Like, my credibility will be gone if I mess this up. I mean, it's that severe. Like I said, I've been in this county my whole life.
That's a lot of pressure to put on yourself, brother.
It is, but truth be told, I'm not concerned about it. What? I don't know where it's at, honey. I'm sorry.
That's real life. That's real life right there. That's real life. Yeah.
So, yes.
Somebody say something?
Yeah, that was Ibrahim Musa. How you doing?
Hold on, brother. Ibrahim. Come on, brother. You know we do this a certain way. I know you're there. I didn't forget you were there. Hold on for a second. Go ahead, Joseph.
Oh, that's okay. So the best way I can thank the people is by doing what I say I'm going to do and not have them come hunt me down and say, 3 months. It's going to be my responsibility to keep everybody updated. And I intend to do that. And I'll make sure that I put the right support staff in place to make sure that we can keep that open lines of communication. I don't want to have the public listen to what I've been saying for the last 15 months and then fall off the mat day one. I think it's important now. We've started a motion. We started a movement. I think I'm going to have to figure out a way to put cameras inside that, not for TV purposes, but for transparency purposes with the public to say, look, guys, this is what we're working on today. This is this is how we are living up to our agreement. And then the other thing is that I'm going to put, like I said, procedures in place that are going to make it so unpopular for future sheriffs to take away that they're going to be forced to keep it, like merit protecting appointed people. So when I get elected, right, I can say, ominous dominus, you're now a captain.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, before we could just make anybody a captain.
Mm-hmm.
Me, I want to make sure you can do the job. You're respected by your peers and you're humble and you're going to train somebody up. Okay. So we're going to meet some criteria, but I want people to feel safe and give me advice. Right now, that's not happening. Everybody's afraid to say boo. You know, I don't know how to run that jail. It's not really my job. It's my job to make sure that it gets done properly.
Yes.
It's my job to make sure that those people are safe and secure while they're going through the criminal justice system. That's my responsibility. My job is to find a capable individual, put them in place. But I also need to make sure that I've got my finger on the pulse all the way down. So I need to make sure that people are, when I want to make a decision, I may think it's the greatest thing in the world. And if my power is left unchecked because they're afraid of me accusing them of failure to support, I'll say, you're no longer allowed, you're gone. That's how quickly it happens. But by merit protecting these individuals, meaning like as if they had gone to a promotion board and, you know, they're stuck in that rank. They cannot be taken away. You know, I want them to feel confident. I want people to feel confident giving me advice because that's how we get the best results.
Yes.
I will make a well-informed command decision based on the advice that I'm given for a certain situation. That's how I perceive this job to work. Not that I come in being the end all be all, like I know everything. Clearly that's not working because he's got himself, the chief deputy, the number 3, number 4. That's got to be like 200 years of law enforcement right there.
Yeah.
And not going too good over there. I mean, so why?
Question for you, and we got a couple other people that want to ask questions that chiming in on different chats and different things of that nature. You're out one evening with your family, having dinner. Excuse me, and out of nowhere, this little girl, 8, 9 years old, come up to your table, and she's standing right behind you. And you turn around, and you say yes, and she said, "I just want to thank you." Because my dad was going through something and you didn't, and going way out there, you didn't shoot him, you didn't kill him, you helped him, and now he's able to come home and go with me to school every morning. How valuable is that, brother? Knowing that.
Man, God almighty, as a father, and I have a daughter, that was my daughter just there asking me for a key. I can't imagine not being around. Like I literally, the decisions that I make on a daily basis, I literally take into effect of whether or not that this decision will prevent me from coming home to my family. So for a little girl to come up and say that something like that happened, it would be like winning the lottery for me.
Wow.
Family is the most important thing. And I'm going to stress that in my administration. We're going to make childcare available to these deputies that are single, raising single households. We're going to make sure that they've got access to their children and that they're being taken care of. We're exploring different avenues. Maybe we can look at putting a facility inside the jail for the deputies to come with their small children. Family, to me, there is nothing more important than my family, my wife and my kids, my parents. And I want to bring that into the sheriff's office and get to know them and their families. And then I want the public to get to know us and our families. You know, come see me and bring your family on Saturday. We're going to be doing a 5K walk.
What do you say to the people that would say to you, and there may be people out there that think this way, that's not a connection. There, you know, you're there to do a job. You're not there to be a family counselor and different things of that nature. Because I know the importance of what you're saying. But what do you say to that person?
Well, that's their opinion, and I will take that under advisement as I would anything, and then make a command decision based on that.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have to agree with everything, or maybe that individual has some valid points that I've never even considered about doing that kind of scenario.
Mm-hmm.
But unless I listen to that individual, how am I going to know? If my attitude was like, you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
If you think you can do this job, you come run for sheriff, and then you can do what you want to do.
Raheem, I know the whole thing. Someone just signed in. His name is
Hold on.
Colonel Otha
Mo,
Thornton, the Democratic Leadership Committee.
Mo.
There.
Mo, are you listening to me, brother? We do this a certain way, brother. We do this a certain way. I understand, but hold on, we do this a certain way. All right, that's not it, brother. Hold on, I get to that person, but my guest is speaking. Let him finish his thought.
Oh yes.
So it's important that I listen to everybody, right? So I guess at that particular point in time, if this was like a legit question, that's the answer I would give. Let's sit down, have a dialogue, weigh the pros and cons, tell me where you're coming from so I understand your viewpoint, and then let me explain why I'm doing it, and then we meet in the middle somewhere. So as issues that are small like that or big, we should be doing that as an organization collectively. We need to, you know what I'm saying, asking these kind of questions.
That's good. That's good. We're gonna go in this. Mo has something out of Ibrahim. He has something. We have I think the name is Otha. Otha, we're gonna come to you after that. So please be patient with me. I know everybody have questions. This is a wonderful conversation that we're having this morning. And I think I guess for actually being here with us this morning. Thank you very much, brother. I definitely appreciate you sharing your time with us. Mo, do you have a question and or concern?
My good friend, fellow Morehouse classmate, Lieutenant Colonel Otha Thornton, retired. He is actually on the works at the state of Georgia, the Georgia Democratic Party Steering Committee. He qualified, for Secretary of Education. Very powerful, past one of the first black male president of the National PTA, highly decorated. And I wanted him to hear, you, and maybe you have a question for him, as you explained very passionately about where you are right now. And I want to give that opportunity to turn it over to Otha.
Hold on. I gotta go. I told Ibrahim I was gonna come to him. Ibrahim, what's on your heart, brother? You have a question and or concern? Otha, we coming to you next.
Okay.
Ibrahim, are you there?
Yes. Yes. I was trying to find the name of a lady that son was killed in prison. I was calling her place because she called a hotline, and the Georgia State thing was about that. But the question I really wanted to ask, when you're making these decisions, like this kind of like pre-retro 70s and 80s about rehabilitation and having education for these prisoners and everything, and being just with the community and your officers. First question, I have two, if you don't mind. First question is, how are you going to deal with the police union in order to maintain order among your police officers and deputies and serve the community?
Ask your second question as well. You're gonna answer both of them back to back. What's your second question?
Okay. Well, the second question is, where does he stand at? This might be a mind trap, so you don't have to answer the second question. Where do you stand at when Cedric Alexander was police chief in DeKalb County, and Barack Obama and such others came up with a dignified community police enforcement, as opposed to the Protect and Serve Act that was passed, like Representative John Lewis and some of the conservative representatives in Georgia? Where do you stand on those things in order to do what you want to do to police your community and organize your community and keep your community safe?
Those are good questions. So the first question you're asking, if I want to make sure that I understand it correctly, is because you're a little broken up and then my dog was by. I'm so terribly sorry. So the first question you said, I only heard half of it.
Ask your question again, the first one, Ibrahim.
Okay. What I was saying was that I heard some of the comments he made about how he's going to organize the sheriff's department in Gwinnett County, which I've had some incidents in Gwinnett County. But the thing I was wondering, how are you going to deal with your officers and the police union, the International National Police Union, in order to make your community safe and make your policing effective in the community of Gwinnett County at large. Did I get
so? Yeah. So, in answer to your question, we don't have a police union here. We have a fraternal order of police, and I've met with the president, and he and I had a good conversation, and we seem to see eye to eye on a lot of things. The biggest thing right now is that the sheriff's office is not working very well with the police departments. They're just not. So we've got several different municipal agencies here in the county, as well as a county police department. And they're not, the relationship appears to be strained. There's not a good communication. There's things that the sheriff, he didn't even deputize one of the agencies here.
Wow.
Nobody knows why. So I think there's only 2 officers in that specific agency that have been deputized. One is on a multi-jurisdictional task force, and the other one is a criminal investigations investigator. So how do you not deputize other officers in your own county? They can't effectively do their job without doing that. Now, granted, it's a privilege, but it's kind of like one of those things, where, so number one, we have to rebuild that relationship with the agencies as well. The Fraternal Order of Police, again, I've met with the president there, and I've spoken with their committee and representatives from them, and we have a good relationship. We see eye to eye, and as they continue to have issues and bring up, they will be part of communicating as well. I'll have regular briefings. I want to make sure that I have my finger on the pulse when it comes to the morale and well-being of the men and women that are working there as sworn deputies, as well as the citizens. There are a lot of civilian jobs that are being performed by citizens here in Gwinnett, and I need to make sure that they're happy and they're being taken care of and they're doing their jobs properly. So there's a big organization. So other than that, if anybody's got any ideas of things that I can do better, I'm all for it. But that's the answer for the first question. And then the second one you were asking, say that one more time for me.
How do you feel about when Cedric Alexander and Barack Obama and others came up with the community policing effect as opposed to the Protect and Serve Act that came up conservatives in Gwinnett County? Matter of fact, one of the conservative Congress people was on TV yesterday acting like a child. Anyway, but I'm going to put you on line. How do you feel about those types of police?
Well, I think it's great that Obama did that. It's sad that he's the one that had to do that. That's stuff that should have been implemented by your local leadership. So the fact that our president had to come in and get involved in something like that, that's kind of sad, if you want my opinion. So, we need to make sure that stuff like that happens. As far as the Protect and Serve, to me, that's a powerful statement, because not only are you protecting, but you're serving. See, nobody ever thinks about the service. And the service aspect for me as a sheriff will be to provide you with resources to never come back to jail. I don't want you to ever come back. So when you're here, I need to make sure that we have to have justice. So, victims have rights. And unfortunately, you got to pay your dues to society, whatever that is, whatever the criminal justice system decides for you. We need to make sure that gets taken care of. But while you're here, I need to make sure that you never come back. And I think it's important that we figure out why you're here. What is your personal situation that brought you here? And then provide you with purpose, direction, motivation, and resources to not come back. Mm-hmm. That may be education. It may be, mental health treatment. It may be drug addiction. It could be a myriad of things. But again, it's my responsibility to make sure you don't come back. So that's how I am going to, when you say protect and serve, to me, that's the service part.
Yes.
In community policing, I don't think that we should have a community policing division. We don't need a unit for community. Every person that wears this uniform or has an ID card that says Gwinnett County Sheriff's Office should be a reflection and a representative of our organization collectively. Every person that works in that building is part of the community ambassador, the community relations team, right?
Mhm.
So I want to encourage deputies to live and work. And I know there's two schools of thought on that, but the reason I say the sheriff's deputies is because we don't typically answer calls for service. So the statistic of getting involved in something, you know, I understand people want to not live where they work, so to speak, you know, coming across certain individuals. But, you know, working in a jail, it's more of a one-on-one relationship. The jailers, from what I understand, for the very most part, they develop a rapport with these people in there. I mean, I can't even tell you how many people on both sides, the jailer side and the person that was incarcerated, talk about, oh, Deputy Anderson, you know, you've done this for me. You helped me out. Deputy so-and-so. I say Nina because I know her very well. And she was Deputy of the Year. I mean, she was a fantastic role model, Nina Anderson. She's a dear friend of mine. I love her to death. And she's a standard.
Mhm.
Like, she performed her job. She came in and day out and did her job. You know, she was on all kinds of like television programs for Netflix and, you know, just doing her, being her.
Mm.
And she impacted so many individuals' lives that, you know, people know her. They came in, they call her, you know, auntie, you know, she had those people in line, bro. I tell
Yeah.
you what, you're not fooling around in Nina's.
Yeah.
I promise you, you're not.
Good.
So I want more of Nina.
Mhm.
I want to know what, you know, and she'll be coming back. Maybe not as a deputy, but, you know, we want to have that standard
Yes.
to rub off on
Yes.
everybody else. So for her to possibly come back, and I know she's got a great job at another agency right now, so I don't want to, you know, start poaching from them because now what am I doing? I'm just causing more problems. So, but I'd like to see her come back and mentor these young deputies, you know, because after you go off your field training, your FTO cycle, I mean, you're still going to have questions.
Yeah.
And from what I'm told, nobody's there to help follow up with that. So we're going to start doing stuff like that too.
Good deal. Good deal. Now we have Otha. Otha, are you there?
Yes, I am, sir.
Good morning. How are you doing this morning?
Wonderfully, you today?
Hey, blessed as well. I'm high and a happy, elephant elated, and porcupine proud to be here. Yes, I am. That's an old country. I'm a country boy, so yeah, I'm country as cornbread, brother. It comes out every now and then. But do you have a question or comment?
Oh, yes. Mr. Mark, I wish you the very best in this endeavor and everything. You know, Gwinnett being one of the fastest growing counties in the country and one of the most diverse counties, what are some of the things you're looking at as far as engaging the youth and just continue to, you know, to build a positive relationship with the community and just serving the youth there in the school systems in Gwinnett?
That's what I think we should do is be more involved with the youth at an earlier age. I want individuals to feel confident and calm interacting with police. You know, it breaks my heart that a situation gets out of control because a routine traffic stop turns into something, you know, for a TV movie because an individual was scared. You know, say what you want, but those are that person's real emotions. And we can't discount that. We can, you know, maybe you don't agree with it or some people will make fun of it, but you know what? At that point in time, that those emotions are for real. And if the officer isn't trained properly to recognize that this person legitimately is afraid for whatever reason, the reason is not important. Why that person is scared on a traffic stop is not important at the time. The important thing is to make sure that the situation stays de-escalated so cooler minds can prevail. And that is going to have to come from an experienced officer, one that doesn't get excited so easily, you know?
Don't get flustered. Yeah. Mhm.
Great.
Flustered. You can't, you
Mhm.
know, you got to be comfortable. And that's why I think working in the jail is such a good resource. You know, everybody says, "Oh, I don't want to work at the jail. I don't want to work at the jail." Why? That's our constitutional obligation. It should be our crowning achievement. We
Mhm.
should have. I want people from all over the country, all over the world, to come see how Gwinnett County runs their jail. Right?
Mhm.
Well, those deputies early on, you learn how to talk to people. When you're by yourself in a room, locked up with 100 other individuals, some of them are the truth. You're gonna learn how to talk to people real quick.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Mhm.
You know, you
Mhm.
have that kid to come save you,
Yeah.
but you're still gonna catch those hands.
Mhm. Yeah.
You're
Exactly.
still gonna catch those hands,
Mhm.
and you're gonna catch them from the wrong person. So you better learn how to talk to people. And just because you know they're wherever, you can't be, hey, MF this or you
Mhm.
over here. You can still command authority without being disrespectful. You
Mhm.
know what I'm saying? You can still have a
Mm-hmm.
commanding presence without disparaging people, you know, because if you talk down to somebody, what do you expect what kind of answer you think
Exactly.
you're gonna get back? You know what
Exactly.
I'm saying? Like, why are you shocked because you
Mhm.
mouthed off to somebody? You think because they're incarcerated that they're
Mhm.
gonna be like, oh, I'm sorry, don't. Nah,
Yeah. Yeah. And I
that's not
got
how that works.
and I got to say this. I got to say this. Only on DKM Media Group will you hear the future sheriff of Gwinnett County say, "Catch these hands."
Oh, sorry.
You're gonna catch these hands.
I'm a regular guy. Like, I'm a regular dude.
Yeah.
The sheriff is my job. It's a title
Yeah.
that I
Yeah.
would humbly accept,
Mm-hmm.
but that's not who I am. I'm
Exactly.
Joseph Mark, and I'm
Mhm.
just a regular guy. You know, like I don't know.
Mhm.
I don't need a driver or bodyguards
Yeah.
or none of that. I
Exactly.
don't need my name on the cars. Like
Mm-hmm.
y'all know who I am because you voted me. So
Yeah. There you go. There you go. Good deal. Curtis, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Hey, what up? What's going on?
Hey, doing good, man. We got the future sheriff. Excuse me, the future sheriff of Gwinnett County. He's here. He's actually giving us opportunity to talk to him, which is absolutely is a blessing. Do you have a question or concern?
I have both.
Okay. Which one are we gonna handle first?
My question is actually a concern.
Mm.
Hey, Sheriff, man. Hey, welcome to the show.
Oh,
Brother,
thank you.
I see you you're trying to make a difference, man, and in the world that we in, may be a little hard, but man, keep pushing.
Thank you, sir.
My question is, do you have a plan, or what is your plan to deal with the fallout from the November election? Because of course, you keep going in the way you're going to win. And
God
as a
willing.
result, I was seeing a report yesterday, day before yesterday, that Gwinnett County is specifically a target of interest for certain folks that's voting a certain way, right? And one of the things that have stuck out in my mind since our last presidential election is the name Ruby Freeman. So my question is, have you considered a plan, or do you have a plan to deal with that form of aggression and or oppression, considering that there is a chance that Biden might win?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And are you ready for that fallout? Do you have a plan for that fallout? Because we know the evidence is there. We see what happens if this guy loses an election, the other guy loses an election.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Hold on.
What happened to Ruby? You're an officer of the law. What happened to that lady was criminal, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can only imagine if I would have been her son sitting in the house.
Mm-hmm.
The police would have probably took me to jail. You know what I mean? Because, like, hold on, man.
Wrap it up for me, Curtis.
People showing up to the house, the death threats, do you have a plan, or have you even considered a plan to combat? Because when you win, being honest, if the Democratic Party wins, you might be walking into a mess. Just being a forward thinker, brother.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate your question. I do not have a specific plan, and I'm just being honest with you. One thing I can tell you is that, well, number one, I will now actually strategize for something, because you're right, we don't know. What I can tell you with all confidence is we're going to change the mindset in Gwinnett. If you want to live in Gwinnett, regardless of who you are, where you come from, peacefully, and be a member of our community, we will welcome you with open arms.
Mm-hmm.
If you think you're going to come to our county and prey on our business owners and our citizens, you got the wrong dude.
Mm-hmm.
You want to talk about, all the funny memes? I'll go down the list for you. I'll grab my box of change and throw it into a wishing well, wishing somebody will. I'll put up on the billboard, "Welcome to Gwinnett County," where you can fool around and find out Sheriff Joseph Moore. I'll do all the funny stuff that you want.
Yeah.
Because I got to tell you, you will not come to our county and destroy it. You will not come to our county and prey on our citizens. And there are a vast amount of tactics and techniques that law enforcement can implement. Now, It sounds like I'm leaning towards more violence. That's certainly not the case. What I mean by that is that you will be a pariah, because my intent is to unify the county behind me. And you will be a pariah if you want to stay in this county or commit. I'm going to have everybody after you. The church groups, the neighbors are going to have the confidence to blow you in if you're selling narcotics. If you think you're going to come here and start, protesting, great. Protest to your heart's content. I'll even come out there and sit next to you. But if you want to resort to violence or start disrespecting people or throwing stuff, not going to be tolerated. It's just not going to be tolerated.
Mm-hmm.
And I will use every tool that's available to me to prevent it from happening. I will work with the DA's office and the solicitor's office to strategize. I will bring their investigators in to strategize on how we can combat, metaphorically speaking, these people. I do not care what side of the aisle you're on. I don't care what letters next to your name. I don't care what color your skin is, what language you speak, where you come from. What I care about is, what kind of a person are you?
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing to contribute to our community? What are you doing to contribute and better yourself? What are your interests? Those are the things I care about. I don't care about the weeds and the things that people want to use to distract us and divide us, because that's what they're doing. And they see how we're fractured.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to tell you, that's not how I live my life. I can look at my neighbors and go down through the United Nations.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's great. It doesn't. Nobody gives it a second thought.
Mm-hmm.
So those types of behaviors, again, are not going to be tolerated. And I don't care about the politics. My job is to enforce the law.
Mm-hmm.
I can't pick and choose what I want to do. My viewpoint on certain policies nationally or whatever means nothing, because it's not my job. All I'm doing is causing more problems by sticking my nose into things that doesn't belong, or giving my opinion on stuff that I got no business giving my opinion on.
Mm-hmm.
We need to have more non-biased, non-partisan law enforcement. I'm not going to be the sheriff for just 50% of the county or 25% of the county. I need to be the sheriff where everybody collectively feels like they're safe. They're being represented, and they're taken care of.
Exactly.
Regardless of where they come from.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good. Toussaint, are you there, brother? Now I'm gonna tell you something about this.
Yeah.
He have a hard time finding his mute button sometimes, so I had to kind of be patient with him a little bit.
I got it. I promise you.
Yes,
I
sir.
got it.
Yes, sir. Any questions and or concern?
What's his name? What's your name, sir?
Joseph Mark.
Say it again.
Joseph Mark. People call me Joe, or Hey You works too.
Joseph Moore.
Mm-hmm.
Good deal. Good deal. Thank you for joining us. I was looking at and listening to you, and it seems like you want to have everybody on board in accomplishing success. So my question is, I guess it's broad, but what does I wanted to say the first day, but what does the first 6 months looking at it from the outside in now? What do you think it's going to look like with what you have to face in accomplishing what you desire to accomplish? Does that even make sense?
The first 6 months is gonna set the tone. It's gonna set the tone. Thank you for that question, by the way, and thank you for allowing me again to speak here today in front of the audience. This first 6 months is gonna be crazy. I gotta tell you that my intentions for the first at least 60 days is to observe, right? I need to understand how things work. I need to get down into the jail and observe how things are done. I need to listen to the advice of my leadership, my command staff leadership that I'm going to be putting in place. But to rush in and make hasty decisions just to change stuff, to me, I think is not a good idea. It's not good leadership. So it's going to be focused on making sure that the people that are detained there are safe, they're showered, they have access to their family members. And the only way I can do that is to make sure that the jail numbers from a staffing perspective are increased. So right now they're on this crazy regiment because you may have 15 people show up for work when they're supposed to be 50. So where are the other coming from? They're being called in. You've got, chiefs and majors working jail pods, and that's great because it's all hands on deck. But I need to make sure that is not the status quo. I don't know how much longer the sheriff's office can continue to operate like that. Not only is it unsafe, but it's not right from a human standpoint for the persons detained and the people working there. That is an already stressful job now being compounded by added things that don't need to be there, added problems that shouldn't be there in a normal work environment. Who wants to go to work every day knowing that I may get boiling water thrown in my face today?
Yeah,
that actually happened.
Yeah.
So getting the numbers up, getting the quality and the condition of the jail. That jail, from what I understand, is trashed. Trashed. I mean, you've got water leakage, and again, it's not the maintenance people's fault. But when you're locked up 23 hours a day, 7 days a week, 3 deep to a cell, the size of your powder room or your hall closet, you're going to have issues, right? You're going to want to get out of there naturally. So you're going to start catching stuff on fire, breaking stuff, trying to escape. There's damage all throughout that whole jail, graffiti on the walls. And I mean, it smells like feces and urine when you get off the elevator going in there. It's really that bad. I mean, you've got birds flying around inside the jail and bugs. You got deputies bringing, mosquito net from the fruit flies because of the smell of all the feces.
Wow.
I'm not mad. I got, they had a snake in the daggum jail. I got a picture of it.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you get a snake inside the daggum jail?
And see, and I just want to co-sign what he's saying because my past, 10 years I worked inside the prison in the state of South Carolina, in Columbia, South Carolina. I was an officer there for 10 years. And what he's telling you is true. what he's telling you is true. It's a totally different world, and it takes a special individual to do it, and to do it the way that it's supposed to be done.
Yes.
The way that it's supposed to be done. Brother, I'm looking at the clock, and it's right top of the hour, 10 o'clock, and I want to give you an opportunity to ask for people's vote. People come on here. I don't tell people who to vote for, but I tell them who I'm going to vote for. I tell them who I'm going to vote for, and I think the person is standing before you. But ask for the votes, brother, and any contact information that you have. And thank you again for joining us today.
Thank you so much, sir. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, please, I'm not asking for your money.
Mm-hmm.
I'm asking for a chance to prove myself to you. And if you think that I'm capable, or you're confident that I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do, I humbly ask you, regardless of your political side, please go down and vote. Pull a Democratic primary ballot, and vote for me. And I will not disappoint you. I promise you, I will not disappoint you. I'm not saying I'm going to be perfect, but again, I promise you I will be transparent. I'll be humble. I'll be ethical. And we will change this together. We will collectively change this. So if you would like more information, you can call me on my cell phone at 470-930-1203. That's 470-930-1203. That is my real cell phone number. You can call me. I've had people call me and just say, hey, I got a quick question. I want to know what your stance is on this. And then I answer it, they hang up, and I don't know who the heck they are. But I mean, it's the truth. I mean, whatever, I am doing the best I can to prove to the citizens that I will be your public servant. I will work with the commissioners. I will cross party lines and work. I will have both representatives in my administration. So people have the confidence that I am going to be fair. I am also going to get, once I get in office, is to get with our legislators and see if we can make the sheriff's race nonpartisan. There is nothing in my job description that has anything to do with politics, period, except for the fact I'm asking people to vote for me. And the way I look at it is a job interview. I don't have anything against my colleagues that are running against me. I'm not mad. I haven't gone and teared up any of their signs. Heck, I can't even keep a sign out. And I laugh. I'm not mad. That tells me that you're threatened by me.
Yes.
Because I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do. And I'm nobody's do boy. I haven't taken anybody's money. I don't have nothing. Listen, I am going to do what's right. I promise you. And all I'm asking is for a chance for you to hold me accountable. That's it. And if you think that I'm the one, I humbly ask for your vote. If you would like more information, I'm on Facebook. My website is in as many languages as we can think of. www.josephmarkforsheriff.com. If you'd like to make a contribution, I'm not going to tell you no, but $200 and below can be donated anonymously. And I'll put more signs out. Or, like we rented the pavilion for the park this weekend. Please come and see me at Trouble Mill Park at 10 a.m. and join me and my family and my friends and other voters. Bring your dog. And that's it. Talk to me. Tell me what you'd like to see implemented or changes made.
Good deal. I got a piece of business that I need to take care of real quickly. And if I don't do it, brother, I'm going to have problems the whole weekend.
I got your back, man. Tell me what you need. We'll do it.
No. I got to do this one solo. Okay, this is what it is. Good morning, Mama. I see you watching over there, Mama. Good to have you. Love you dearly, Mama. I see you over there. I got to do my shout out, because if I don't do my shout out, I will get a phone call as soon as we go off the air. You didn't do my shout out today, baby. Mama, love you. Thank you for watching. I definitely appreciate it. Now, Tucson, I have to do that, brother. If I don't do that, I'm in trouble.
Man, listen, yes. Mom, I love you.
There you go.
She's watching too.
Yeah, exactly.
We all love her.
There you go. Tucson, what's going on at 3:00 today, sir?
Man, if you guys missed an opportunity to listen or watch this show in its entirety, you can log in at DKM Media Group and Associates whatever you can, media group and the .com. How you say that, Raheem? Help me out.
www.dkmmediagroup.com. dkmmediagroup.com.
And view this show in
Good deal. Good
so
deal.
log in.
Absolutely.
Well,
Absolutely.
mess it up. Of course you did.
Well, I'm gonna give you a chance to get it right. Get a chance. Pray us out, brother.
So God, we come now and we say thank you. We give you glory and honor and praise. And as we come, we ask for your forgiveness for the things that we've gone contrary to your will and your way. Now, God, since we had this conversation, we ask that you bless my brother and his endeavor. And then the county and state that he represents. Just help us all to just do what's right, and right will follow. Because that's your intention. So we give you glory and honor. Please bless now your people that have joined every you be in it and help us to yield to your spirit so we would not fulfill the lust of the flesh. We bless you, we thank you, and it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Now, it's been a great broadcast. I want to thank everybody for joining us. And more than that, I want to thank you for allowing DKM Media Group and Associates to be a part of your day. It is now 10:06. You're about to exit the Morning Glow. But before you go, I want you to do me two favors, if you will. One, I want you to continue to pray for us because we are certainly praying for each and every one of you. Number two, why this is real simple. I want you to go out there, find somebody and give them a hug because you never know. It could be the only hug that they get, or it could very well be their last. Love you, and ain't nothing you can do about it. Have a great day and a better tomorrow. And then we shine some of this light on you from the Morning Glow. Take it out there into this wicked and cruel world that we live in and let your light so shine. Get an opportunity, give somebody some love. You just might find some love in return. Won't that be a beautiful thing? Have a great weekend. Take care of each other. And please, please, please be blessed. Talk to you Monday morning. If God says the same, give somebody some love and truth. They would appreciate it. And I'm sure that you will as well. Have a great day. Love you. And I will talk to you Monday morning.